Hello, welcome to Couple versus Cardboard and our unboxing of The Voice of Isengard. We are here today at Games of Berkeley, which is a fantastic store in the East Bay in California's San Francisco Bay Area. And today we have with us a really fantastic guest with us to help us unbox it. We have Ian from Tales from the Cards, as well as from the Grey Company podcast. Both fantastic and excellent resources for the Lord of the Rings LCG. If you're looking to get into it, or you're even just needing some help along, you're just getting started, or you even just want to try and hone your game a little bit, some really great resources in both of those. So, Ian, thanks for being with us here today.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
We're going to go ahead and start out with, we're just going to talk to Ian a little bit, and then in the second half, we're going to go ahead and do our unboxing review of The Voice of Isengard. So speaking kind of broadly, and then also about Lord of the Rings LCG, tell me a little bit about how you got into gaming, just in general.
Mm-hmm. I started gaming when I was, a kid, basically, a little kid. So we're talking like, to date myself, like 80s, 90s. And so just playing with my dad, we wouldn't play anything intense, but just like whatever games were out then. And on my own, I just started getting games myself and playing. But there came a point during, I'd say, my 20s, I just got busy with other stuff and just totally fell out of gaming. Not completely, because I still played with my friends. We would play Axis and Allies and Monopoly and whatever.
Sure.
We would play, and it was really until I found the Lord of the Rings LCG that I started getting back into gaming. But I always enjoyed it, and I would also, like, when I was in school, when I was supposed to be working on whatever the activity was in class, I would, like, design my own board games. And so a lot of the games I played in when I was a kid were actually ones I just made up and, like, on cardboard or whatever, and just played. So
That's awesome. What kind of games did you have anything specific that you were playing when you were younger, or?
I'd say as far as the ones that I played the most, there was this old game, I think I've seen it, I think they reissued, called just Dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just, you go around to different rooms and kill the monsters there and get treasure and items. Very, very simple. I don't know if I would like it if I played it again, but I loved it at the time. I just played it over and over again. What else did I play? Some of the old Games Workshop games there, like the Space Hulk, I had that. I wish I still had it. For some reason, I got rid of it, and it's like worth so much money now. Right. So Space Hulk. What else did I play? Just a lot of different games. The old Middle Earth CCG, the old Star Trek CCG. So
cool.
I always liked the card game aspect, but I never really got into the CCG thing just because it's such like a money requirement. Right. And when I was a teenager, it's like I didn't have money to just blow on like as many packs as I don't have money to blow now, but and the completist in me, I always want everything for a game, and so that just drove me crazy because it's never gonna happen.
Right, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into Tolkien and what that was like.
So it's kind of funny because a lot of people, the very first fantasy book they read is The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, and a lot of people. For me, it was actually kind of a reverse, where the very first fantasy book, probably the very first long book I read as a kid, and I loved reading as a kid, was The Sword of Shannara by Terry Brooks. Okay. And it's funny because a lot of people have critiqued that as kind of just a straight rip-off of Lord of the Rings, which there's some similarities. His other books are more original than that. He kind of went off on his own thing.
Sure.
But it's interesting for me because I didn't know. I was a kid. I never read Lord of the Rings, so I was just like, this is awesome, like this Sword of Shannara story. But then from there, I moved on to discovering Lord of the Rings, and I think I read The Hobbit first and then Lord of the Rings, and just loved it. Just read it over and over again. Yeah. So that's really how I got into it.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so Tales from the Cards is one of the bigger Lord of the Rings LCG blogs. But you have said in the past that it wasn't really like you to start something like that. So what led you to start it?
Well, I think I've never been as involved or at all involved in a game community like this before. Like I was talking before, middle and high school, it was always either solitary activity or playing with my dad or playing with just a close group of friends. It was never like I got involved at the game shop or that kind of thing. So it's a whole new experience. And what really led me to start this blog and get involved in the community is just I wanted more. Like I was so obsessed with the game, and at the time there wasn't really many blogs out there. There was the forums on Fantasy Flight Games, which I would go to and read stuff, and there were a couple of people who would post on Board Game Geek about the game. But other than that, it was nothing, and I was like, I just want to read more about it and talk more about it. So I was like, well, the only thing I can do is just start my own, and that's what I did. That's where it came from, just wanting to write about it, and through that, just have more of the game, even if I had to create it myself. Yeah. So that was kind of the idea behind it.
Awesome.
What would you say your favorite part of it is? No.
The favorite part of doing the blog, I'd say the comments and discussions that come from the articles. I really like that, and people will challenge me on my ratings or whatnot, but it's fun having that discussion. Like recently I had an article reviewing two of the new heroes that came out, and there was like a huge debate about how good they were, and so I enjoy that aspect, as long as people aren't being trolly about it. That's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. And so obviously so there have been a lot of other blogs and other things that have come out of that. Hall of Bjorn. I know Dan said specifically that you were one of his inspirations as far as that goes. You ended up getting together with a lot of those guys. So you have Derek and Dan from Hall of Bjorn, Derek from why is the name escaping me right now?
Master of Lore.
Master of Lore, thank you. From the Master of Lore blog, as well as Matthew from the Progression series, and you guys ended up coming together to do the Great Company podcast, which is fantastic. I really enjoy listening to you guys. I think it's a really fun show that you guys put together. Tell me a little bit about how you guys ended up coming together, what the thought process behind that was.
Really, it was Derek's brainchild. We had started playing together on Octagon basically through the Cardboard of the Rings which for people who don't know is another podcast about Lord of the Rings LCG, and on their Facebook page, they have a very active Facebook page. I think it was Derek who put out a call saying, is anyone interested in playing? And so that's how we came together. We started playing on Octagon.
Cool.
And what we found is like we'd play, but we'd also spend another hour afterwards just talking about the game and debating stuff. And so at a certain point, Derek just asked us like, hey, we have these long discussions about the game. Maybe we should record it. Maybe other people would be interested in hearing that. And so it's really where the idea came from, and we just took that and ran with it. And we really just... Cardboard of the Rings had their kind of own take on the game, and we didn't want to just replicate exactly what they're doing, so we said we'd do something just based kind of the discussions we would have on Octagon, which is like debating certain cards, talking about strategy, and so that's where the idea came from.
Yeah, that's cool.
Fun.
What would you say your guys' vision or goal with it is?
Oh, that's so lofty.
Is there maybe there, I don't know. Right.
Having fun.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, of course, having fun. I guess our vision for it was just being able to, and this kind of goes back to why I started the blog too. I really love Lord of the Rings LCG, but at the same time, there's such a steep learning curve for it for a lot of players. Like, you'll see so many times people coming on the forums like, I'm getting destroyed, like I want to throw my cards out the window, like what do I do?
No, I don't know what that would be like at all.
And the way the core set was designed, I love the game, but it doesn't provide the best entry to new players with the decks they provide and kind of the advice they give. And so part of the reason I started Tales from the Cards was to help new players and give them some advice that would hopefully help. And that's part of what we want to do with Great Company too. And at the same time, appeal to experienced players as well with our discussion. So kind of appeal to both ends of the spectrum. Yeah. I guess that's the bigger vision.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
That one's really fun.
Cool.
Awesome.
So what are some of your favorite aspects of Lord of the Rings LCG? I know we've kind of talked about it generally, but what would you say, what do you think captivates you so much about the Lord of the Rings LCG? What is it that really drives you about that specifically?
There's a few different things. I think first and foremost is just the theme, of course, like being able to see those characters and have adventures in their world. That's a big thing. I really enjoy just the fact that just the scenario model where each expansion is covering like different scenarios and quests, so it keeps the game fresh because you're always playing a new situation rather than, like, let's say if they had designed the game where you're just always trying to get rid of the ring. Like, that's kind of how Middle-earth CCG was, where which is a good game as well, but you're competing, your different wizards competing to see who can, be the best at gathering the forces of good.
Oh, interesting.
So you get new cards and stuff, but the base of what you're doing is always the same, whereas in Lord of the Rings it's always different, other than you're always in a quest and fight, that kind of thing. But the dynamics of the quest, the mechanics are always different, and that keeps the game fresh. I like that. And I do enjoy deck building, and I know players who are new to this type of game get intimidated by that. And for them, I would say I was too. Like, I'm not, like I said, I had a long break where I wasn't playing gaming really, and so the thought of building decks for this game at first, I was just like, what the heck do I do?
Right.
And it just, it's just something, you read forums, you talk to other people, you experiment, and eventually you get to a point where you have fun with it, which is the important part.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, what are some things you're excited about for them to cover in future expansions?
Oh, such a good question. Actually, the very first article I wrote for Tales from the Cards was the speculation, like, where will the game go next? And I'm always trying to think about that.
Yeah.
I think, of course, all the saga expansions, which are covering the actual stories of the Lord of the Rings, but outside that, I do really like their own stories they come up with. They're pretty interesting. I really want them to go to, like, around the Shire area and Arnor and cover all the Rangers. The Rangers are such cool characters, and cover that aspect. I've kind of have this pipe dream, because I don't think it's ever going to happen, of where they go really far out east and, like, go seeking for the Lost Blue Wizards and, just far out stuff. I don't know if it ever happened, because there's not really enough material in the text to do it, but it would be cool. I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so if you could pick the next cycle, so you get to pick the next cycle, you get to pick the region, you get to pick the topic, what would you choose?
Oh, that's so tough. I think just because of the sheer, like, strangeness of it, I would go for the Blue Wizard cycle and totally go out east, explore more about those peoples and what they're up to and that kind of thing. It would be very speculative, but I think that's what I would pick.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so aside from future, you think about what we have up to this point. What are some of your favorite quests?
I'd say all time, some of my favorite quests, one of them is Foundations of Stone, if you're just talking about the regular quests, which took place in the Dwarrowdelf cycle. And the reason I like that one is there's this cool moment in the quest where if you're playing with more than one player, you can't do this if you're playing solo, unfortunately, but if you're playing with 2 or more players, you get split, like the cavern falls underneath you and you get split, and you kind of have to race to get back together because all these nasty tentacly creatures are coming after you, and so you have to fight your way and reunite, and it's just a really well balanced quest, really fun. And I guess I'm a bit of a masochist. I do really like the harder quests. So I really like the Battle of Lake Town,
right, absolutely.
Which is one of the special print and demand expansions, which came out at Gen Con 2 years ago. Yeah. And I really like that one because you're battling Smaug, and it's this big epic battle, and it's tough, but the theme is really strong, and just the feeling when you finally kill the dragon it's pretty amazing. So I really like that one.
Yeah, that's cool. We still haven't gotten there yet. We have not beaten Smaug yet. No, we beat. It was you're thinking of.
Not in
the saga.
we have in the game at some point in one quest.
Yeah, in the saga one.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in Battle for Lake Town, which is of Lake Town, which is a great one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so so aside from, I know you talked about some of the games that you played when you were younger. I know you play Attack Wing. What are some of your other favorite games right now? What are some of your other favorite games right now?
So Attack Wing, of course. I played Netrunner, not completely. Like, I haven't. And what I mean by that is I haven't kept up with the expansions and all that. You can only invest in so many games. But just very casually, I enjoy playing Netrunner. It's a nicely designed game. Arkham Horror, somewhat, when I can find the time to play it. I do really enjoy the theme behind that game and the way that even when you get just totally smashed or lose, you can have a lot of fun with friends.
Yeah.
So that's another one. There's another kind of more obscure game called Revolver, which is like a Wild West game. 2-player, one person's controlling like the sheriff, the other player's controlling the outlaws, and the outlaws are trying to take a train to Mexico and get away, and they could derail the train. It's a really fun game. It's not like a LCG or CCG, but they do release expansions expanding upon it, so that one's really fun.
Cool.
So if you were one of the race of Middle Earth, which race would you be? Like dwarf, elf?
She asked me this on like our third date. Our third date, she asked me this. Yeah.
Can really tell a lot about a person.
It's like my favorite question of all time.
I guess I have to say, I don't know how popular a choice this would be, but I would have to say the Hobbits. Yes, I'm going to be really short, but and have hairy feet, but there's something about their way of life that I really enjoy, which is just that whole, food and cheer and song. They're just living that life, and at times maybe it's boring and people want to go on adventures, but there's something intriguing about just that's what they value in life, is those things, rather than, dwarves are going after gold and the elves are kind of doing their lofty things, but the hobbits are just happy with a very simple life. So
awesome.
I like that answer because Tolkien said that of himself, I think, and so I thought that was a really cool idea. So I think that's cool.
Yeah.
What did you pick, by the way?
I
when you were asked that
I picked, I think I said Rohirrim, didn't I say? I think I said I was a man. I recently took one of those online ones, and it was like, you're a plain old boring man, and I was like, no way! Like, the men are so awesome. They've got issues. They're adventuresome. You get to ride horses. Like, that's cool. I don't want to ride a horse in real life, though. I just want to do it if I'm in Lord of the Rings.
Where no one ever falls off, right? Unless they're thrown off somehow.
In a mighty battle.
Yeah, exactly.
And you?
I picked elves.
Elves, okay.
Yeah. There's an...
And you had a specific one.
Well, Lady Galadriel is my favorite. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah.
She's just really cool.
She's so rad. Yeah, she's so great. And
like stoic and...
Fingers crossed we'll get her by the end of the cycle.
Yeah, really hoping that
I'm really
nice.
banking that she'll be the last one, but we'll see.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So, there you go.
Well, obviously, Ian, thank you so much for being here. We'd really appreciate it. Obviously, getting to do this. We've got the second half of this, which is going to be our unboxing of Voice of Isengard, so stay tuned. Does that question make sense? Mm-hmm. Make sure you ask for his blood type when you ask it.
Okay. So, mother's maiden last name, last 4 digits of your social, and let me read it one more time. Sorry.
This isn't an interview. We're stealing your identity.
Yeah.
This is really clever way.
Very convoluted plan.
Yeah. We created Couple versus Cardboard just to steal your identity.
That would be pretty impressive. Yeah, that would be awesome.
It's a long time.